Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of the KBCR podcast and the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair TV show. Welcome. If this is your first time watching, my name is Michelle Green, also known as KB Michelle Green, and the KB stands for Kingdom Builders. We are super excited that you are here today. And we are going to jump into a topic about credit and financial tips with yours truly. That's what we do every single Friday from 12 till 12:30. But we are running a little bit behind schedule today, so thank you for allowing us to be tardy for the party. All right, if you know, you know, right? Okay, so anywho, like I was saying, my name is Michelle Green and I am the owner of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. What we do here is we teach you about credit and finances. We come on every Friday, so make sure that you are subscribed to the KBCR TV show and the KBC Kingdom Builders Credit Repair TV show and podcast. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're following us everywhere at KB Michelle Green, Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. Make sure that you are locked into our programs. If you are having any kind of issues with your credit, if you're having any kind of issues with banking, with anything that relates to your money and finances, listen. We are the place for you to be. We are the place for you to come on over to, because that's what we do, is teach you how to manage your money and how to manage your credit. So today we are going to get into a topic like always, as it relates to how we can help you to improve your credit and finances. But first, I want to give a shout out to CTR Media Network, which is the network that we stream on every single day. And it is a network that streams to over 3.6 billion viewers all over the world in over 175 countries. Now, if you are trying to get seen and heard, if you have a business or you have a message that you want to share, you need to go over to www.ctrmedia.com so you can get on their network as well. But again, today, as always, what do? We first come on live and we want to help you to understand what credit is. And let's just start there, because that's the place where most people are lacking in understanding. So let's think about it. As it relates to us growing up as a child, and after we get out of high school and we graduated, we got a lot of graduations that are going on, right? Okay, so we have the graduation, and then we decide that we want to get out on our own, or maybe some of us want to stay at home with our parents, and that's absolutely fine either way. But we have to understand that in order for us to participate in being an adult, adulting requires us to work, to earn a living, in addition to do what? It allows us to make a living, but also to gain credibility. So how does credit actually work? Here is a simple, realistic breakdown of how credit works in the most simplest terms that I can think of. So when we think about credit, we want to understand that after we graduate, after we start making the money, maybe we improve in our jobs, we get a better paying job and whatnot, so we can make more money. What we want to do is understand that we're never going to have enough money to take care of every expense that we need. We're not going to have enough money to take care of the things that we need to buy that are significant for our life, such as a vehicle. Nobody's walking around normally with $25,000 to $50,000 in their bank accounts. Nobody usually is walking around with millions of dollars just sitting around so that they can go ahead and purchase a $300,000 to $500,000 home or less. We are not that kind of people. We are not that kind of nation, okay? So as it relates to us, no matter where you are in the world is watching, even if you're in another country, and that's just not the system that we have been taught as it relates to our finances and our money, our credit. So what we want to understand about credit is your ability to be able to go to a financial institution of some sort and be able to borrow the money from the financial institution, so that if you don't have enough money to purchase a vehicle, if you don't have enough money to purchase a house, if you don't have enough money to buy those clothes today, you can put it on credit. You can put it on a department store card, what we used to call a charge account. You can put it on a credit card, or you can borrow enough money that's going to allow you to suffice being able to have what you need to buy. So as it relates to credit, the basic, simplest way to understand is if we don't have the money right now from our income that we are earning, and we do need to make sure that we have the right type of income, right? But we have to make sure that if we don't have that income, that we have the access to credibility. So how does credit work? We got to make sure that we are understanding some components that are hugely important that I discussed last week that we need to have in place as it relates to our credit. So if you are looking at trying to get your credit up, if you're trying to get your credit, first you need to know that there is a score, just sort of like a grading report card with when you're in school. When you're in school, you get good grades, or you get average grades, or you get low grades. So credit is based on scores, but they're based on a numerological number. They're based on a number that is also created into a formula that's going to rate you just like it does when you were in school. So if you are in school currently, or if you are trying to go back to school, you've been in school, listen, you know and understand that you had to be graded. So as it relates to credit, you have to understand that there's a formula from a company called Fair Isaacs Corporation that originally created the credit score. And what happened is when we go and we look at this credit score that Fair Isaacs Corporation, also known as MyFICO is going to give us the actual numbers of the credit score because what? Guess what? They are the ones that originally created this system. So to grade our credit, we have to know what FICO is saying about our credit. We have to know what FICO is saying about how we manage our money and how do we manage our credit. Okay, so the scores for FICO will range between 300 to 850. Now, if you got a 300, that means that the only thing that you got on your credit is simply your name, your address, and maybe your phone number, okay? Your social and your date of birth. That's pretty much it. That's all you have to have just to get a 300 credit score with MyFICO. But if you are trying to get that credit score to increase, and the considered to be average credit score is going to run you around a 660 to 680. That is going to be the range that you are going to want to stay in. Or if you want excellent credit scores, guess what? You're going to have to go on up to a 720. So make sure that you know the range of what you are trying to achieve with your credit. What are the goals that you are trying to put in place to achieve those houses, those cars, or maybe you are a business owner and you're looking to get some business credibility. Listen, even in the business world, even though business credit is very different from personal credit, sometimes they will rate your credit cards for business off of the personal credit score. So the personal credit score really matters. It's literally up there with oxygen, okay? So we want to understand how this whole system of credit works in the first place. And now let's talk about the different components of what makes up your credit that I went into detail with you last week. So if you want to go back and check out the video, first make sure you're subscribed. And secondly, go ahead to the previous video under Kingdom Builders Credit Repair YouTube channel and go ahead and watch last week's video in detail to learn about the components that make up that credit score and the details behind those scores. So first off, we have the score that is rating your outstanding debt. So how much debt do you owe altogether? If you had to look at every single account that's on your credit right now and how much you originally borrowed versus how much you currently owe as a balance on every single creditor that's there. This is what we call outstanding debt. The outstanding debt to income ratio is something that is going to be determined by your FICO score. The other thing that they are looking at with your FICO score is your payment history. So, how well have you paid people back? First of all, we need to understand that as it relates to money in general, and especially as it relates to credit, we have to make sure that we have a good reputation. We cannot be the kind of people that do not keep our word. So the whole shebang around credit is always going to be catered around how trustworthy are you? Are you a trustworthy person? Do you keep your word? Do you follow through with the things that you say you're going to do? So as it relates to your payment history, how well have you paid your creditors back over a period of 2 years? All right, so that's the second thing that makes up that 300 to 850 credit score. The third thing that makes up that credit score is going to be what we call credit history. So what is a history of the creditors that you have obtained over time? What is a history of the actual companies that you have decided to put in place? So that is going to be a component of how long you have these companies in place. How long did it take you to pay off the debt? How long did it take you to obtain the debt? How many years are in between the history of the credit that you've established? So we want to understand that the score that ranges from 300 to 850, it is a combination of things that we need to take into consideration before we just decide that the only thing we need to do is just pay our debts on time. That's not just the only thing we need to do. All right, so the other thing that is taking the equation of our credit score is the type of credit that you've established. So when I say the type of credit, it is a little bit different from the credit history. The history of your credit is going to look at the history of different things that you've been doing as far as it relates to the credit items. And then we look at the actual credit itself of the type of credit that you've established. So have you bought a house? Have you bought a car? Do you have credit cards? Do you have furniture accounts? Do you have any other type of credibility? And that is a huge factor as to what's going to rate your credit score with my FICO, okay? So we want to understand that this really matters. And the last and final component of your credit score is going to be based on what? It's going to be based on the new types of credit that you establish. So when you have your credit and you are thinking to yourself, well, I have had a couple of accounts. I don't necessarily want to go ahead and keep establishing new lines of credit. Well, one of the issues around some people with their credit is simply because they don't actually apply for anything new. So when you don't apply for any new credit, when you decide that I'm just going to keep what I got, I'm going to pay that debt off, I'm going to have a zero balance, and I'm just not going to have any type of credit at all, guess what? You are hurting your credit. You're hurting your credit score because when it is viewed from a lender's perspective that you have no new credit, they seem to think that you are not a trustworthy person. If you have not established any new credit in the past 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, then what the lenders are saying to themselves is, yeah, I want to stay away from them because I don't know what they got going on with their finances, and I don't know what they got going on with their credit because there's nothing new in the past 5 to 10 years. So I want us to understand that as it relates to our credit scores, we have to be intentional in understanding exactly what it is that we need to do to keep our credit scores high. So I want to talk about today, how much do you really know about credit? How much do you know about this whole process of credit? So as it relates to credit and also credit repair, what we have to understand is that foundation that I just explained. We have to understand that we're never going to have all the money that we really need I won't say never. Let me take that back. We're not going to have, most of the time, most of us are not going to have all the money that we need in order to purchase those items that we need to put on credit. But we have to take into equation all of the components that make up the credit score and not just one or two things. So as it relates to us having credit, what we have to do is we have to make sure that we understand the foundation of being able to borrow something that we are willing to pay back. We have to understand that it's not just that when an emergency comes up in our life that we decide that we are going to stop paying on the debt. We have to figure out in our minds, what can I do? Whether it's a second job, whether it's a third job, whether it is maybe you want to go back to school to get a better education so you can get some other degrees to increase your income in the field that you're currently working in. What we have to understand is that we can no longer allow our credit to just fall by the wayside and ignore every one of those creditors and collection companies that are calling our phones. So let's talk about the foundation of how the whole process of credit works. The reason why credit repair exists, especially Kingdom Builders Credit Repair here, the reason why we are in business is because we understand the process of credit. So once we gain the credibility, filling out the application, we have filled out that application, and after we do that, we get an approval with some companies. Even if we don't get an approval, we are still going to be held liable for the credit inquiry. So it starts with just the application. The process of credit begins with the inquiry. If you apply for credit anywhere and that creditor, lender asks for your social security number, then they are going to do what is called a hard inquiry. A hard inquiry is going to take away 2 points from your credit score. And then once they take off those 2 points from your credit score, the next phase is for the credit item to appear on your credit report. So every single account goes through this same process of credit. Whenever we apply for credit, the first stage of it is to establish the inquiry, and the inquiry is going to report to the 3 major credit bureaus. Now there is a 4th bureau, and I'm going to give you that secret in a minute, but I want you to understand that Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are the 3 major credit reporting agencies. These are the companies that hold the information about every single creditor that you have on your credit report. So Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion should be someone or an organization that you're frequently inquiring about, because you don't want to just sit by the wayside and try to guess at what is on your credit reports. There is a huge difference between a credit report and a credit score. Again, the credit scores were created by MyFICO. The credit reports are held by Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and the 4th bureau that is not a major bureau is called Innovis. INNOVIS. Now what we got to understand about credit is that there are several data furnishing companies. A data furnishing company is a company that holds data about you, your finances, and your credit. So we have to first understand that there are thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of companies that exist as a data furnisher. So it's not just the Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Though they are the major reporting agencies, they are not the only ones that lenders and creditors check with to see if you have a good reputation with your credit. Okay? Boom! I know that's like mind-blowing, right? All right, so when it comes to our credit, after we have applied for the credit with our application, the next stage of credit is that we are going to have that item appear on our credit report. So whoever the company is that you apply credit with, the next phase of it is that they are going to now report that information to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Okay? Now, then after we have that account appear on our credit, one of the things that really causes the domino effect of having a bad credit score is that the lenders and creditors will not share with you that after you open that account, that you're really supposed to be paying on that account within 7 days. That's right, within the first 7 days of the account being established, you're really supposed to be making your first payment. But what the lenders and creditors will tell you to keep you behind in credibility is they will say you got 30 days to pay on the debt. Shame on y'all, shame on y'all, because we believe the lie that we are supposed to pay our debts 30 days after we open it instead of within 7 days after we establish the account. We tend to fall into a late payment status. So, if we're trying to correct our credit, what we have to do is understand that every account is always going to be set up for a 30-day window for us to make our first payment. So within that first 30 days, it's not that the first payment we make is actually made on time, is that the first payment that we make is actually being paid on the very last day that we can pay it before it becomes 31 to 60 days as due. I know that is another big mind-blowing item that we are talking about today. So listen, let's just pause right here for a second. If you're learning something, make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you share this with a friend, because you know everybody that you know needs to hear this information, okay? So the next process of credit is that after the account has been established with the inquiry, after you have decided that you're gonna either make the payment early or within the current time span that you're supposed to make it, or either you're gonna wait until you got that grace period. Then what happens is the lender tells you that you can make the payment 30 days later. So if you decide that you are going to wait until the grace period, it literally means that the due date that you paid the bill by, they will give you about 5 to 10 days afterwards to make that payment. So if you do make the payment after the due date, the only way you could have had a grace period in the first place was being that you were already past due. So I know y'all are like, what the world? Yes, that's correct. So if you are making your payment after the due date, even though you have a grace period, the due date is still the last day to make the payment. So even if the creditor gives you that grace period, you need to understand that you're falling in a late payment status, and that can be reported to the credit bureaus as a late payment, as a 30-day late payment. So as it relates to credit, what we have to understand about our credibility is that we gotta learn how to pay our debts as soon as we open and establish an account. Even if the creditor says to you, well, we don't even have the account established on your files yet, let's just wait about 30 days for us to get it reported to Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. Well, I want you to know that as soon as you apply for credit, you still have the ability to make that payment. So I would urgently allow that creditor to understand that you're going to be back in that office, you're going to be back online, you're going to be back into their app, and you're going to attempt to make that payment as soon as that account is established and released to the credit bureau. That's right. That's what we got to do in order to correct our credit. In order for us to get into a system or a proper protocol of being able to pay our debts on time so that we are no longer late. That's what we have to do, because I'm trying to tell you, if we're doing anything else, we're going to lose, are you ready? Over $50,000. points from our credit score. All right, so listen, we're going to continue this conversation next week, but I want you guys to understand that, hey, if you want to know more about credit, if you want to get your credit repaired, if you have made this major mistake by believing that your due date was the first day to make your payment instead of the last day to make your payment, then we can help you to correct that problem. All you got to do is go to our website, kingdombuilderscreditrepair.com, and as you go to that website, listen, you want to make sure that you click on, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to click on Let's Talk. That's right. Let's Talk means that we are going to have a conversation about the credit that is on your Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion reports, and even your Anovis report. We're going to talk about what is on there. So you see the information that's scrolling across the screen. We want you to go ahead and get into a session where we can talk about how to correct the issue. Because what do we have here at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair? We have solutions. We have real people solutions for being able to correct your issues with your credit and teach you all about how to really get over the hump of the 700 mark of a credit score. That's right. Even though your scores are totally different from your credit reports, the scores are what matters. That is your grade. That is your grade for your finances. So just like in school, like I said earlier, it is literally the grading point of a number that we have to maintain as a 720 or higher. We want to have a 720 credit score with my FICO, and we want to have credit reports that show the correct information. We want to make sure that information is accurate. We want to make sure that information is doing what it's supposed to do. So as it relates to our credit and finances, listen, come on over so we can get you in the program. And if you're already in the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair program, make sure that we are having our monthly sessions. Did you know that in credit repair, it is not a requirement for us to counsel or educate any one of our clients? Did you know that in credit repair, the actual service is something that can be done without ever speaking to you? But at KBCR, the one thing that makes us very different from the rest of the credit repair companies is that we care so much about your well-being, your education of credit, your education of finances, that we sit with you every 30 days. We set up an appointment so that we can talk about what's going on with your particular file. Now, that's not something that I can say that in this industry that a lot of people are doing. Most of the time when you go into credit repair, people don't want to have any kind of communication with you. They just want to do the job because it does require quite a bit of work behind the scenes. So I want you to understand that if you have any issues with your credit, if you're trying to get your credit scores up, that's what we specialize in. I'm also a financial strategist, educator. I am someone that you can actually look up and see that we've been around for 30 plus years of doing business in this particular field. That's right, in credit repair. I started with myself over 30 plus years ago, trying to buy my first home, and I was able to purchase my home after fixing my own credit in 3 months. That's right, 3 months. I was able to get the actual house that I wanted, and I was able to buy multiple houses throughout my lifetime, and still purchasing property. Okay, so if that's you, if you are trying to buy a house, if you're trying to improve your credit score for whatever reason, you need to get into a program that's going to specify education, meet with you and tell you the truth, even if you don't like it, and also be able to help you to establish new credit lines, getting into the depths of any settlement offers that you need to make, all of the things that you are thinking about that you don't have the answer to right now. So that's what we do here at KBCR. And we want to thank you and thank you for watching today. We want to ask that you would go ahead, like and share, comment below. And also, just make sure that you are subscribed because every single Friday we're coming on live to educate you on credit and finances with yours truly, Michelle Green, aka KB Michelle Green. Listen, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching and being here. And we can't wait to see you next time. Next time. That's right. We can't wait to see you next time at the KBCR TV show and podcast. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.